A team that could be in a little bit of trouble, though. Newcastle. I'm just going by the rumours here. Almiron looks like he's going to be sold. AC Milan are coming in for Callum Wilson. Trippier looks like they're getting him out quickly. And we know there's a lot of rumours about that guy at the minute. You know, divorces and parties and young ladies and stuff. That's 3 of their best players, though, being sold in January. Are Newcastle in a little bit of trouble, or am I completely misreading the situation?
Are they selling Almiron, Trippier, and who? Callum Wilson?
Callum Wilson, potentially, all in this month.
It's not as bad as we think. Trippier has been pretty much replaced very soon by the younger, what do you call it? What's his name again?
Livramento.
Livramento.
Almiron, they wanted to get rid of him for a long time. And let's be honest, Callum Wilson, even though he's been good for them, he gets injured every 2 weeks. So it's like...
And he's a backup striker.
And it's not that ridiculous. They have a financial situation where they're going to have to lose one of their big boys. Maybe they're trying to circumvent that by getting rid of some of the other guys. This season's not gone the way that we thought they would go for them, but it was always going to be difficult for them in the Champions League. So in the grand scheme of things, I think I seen one Newcastle fan on Twitter say they've accepted that this season is what it is, and it's not going to be as good as last season, and they're just going to try to finish as high as possible and not go into the summer with a financial situation.
I agree. I don't think this is a bad thing at all. Like, if they're forced into making sales, which is, we won't get into that unless Terry wants to get into it, then what's the alternative? Sell Isak? Sell Bruno? Well, that's obviously a terrible decision. So you're selling a 33-year-old Kieran Trippier, who, let's be honest, probably had, a couple of years left in him anyway, because he's 33. Callum Wilson, again, in his 30s. And Almiron, who I personally don't think he's good enough for where Newcastle want to go anyway, which is the top 4 continually. So, listen, if they, like Igal said, if they can circumvent FFP by selling these players instead of selling Isak or Bruno, then you're only going to take this option, in my opinion. So it is what it is. I don't think this is a major issue.
I think they're looking to upgrade, right? So I think the fact that they're selling these players is actually a little bit scarier than if they weren't, right? Because this means they're trying to replace them with better quality. So.
Yeah, but I don't think that's difficult. I don't think Almiron's like a particularly great player. I don't think.
No, he's not. Yeah,
Trippier's coming to the end of his career anyway, so you're going to have to replace him. Whether you think you're going to get someone as good as him or not, he's coming to the end of his career. And who's the other one? Callum Wilson again. He's like 32. Would he have stayed there next year anyway? He might want to go play first team football.
I think they already have internal replacements. I don't think they're bringing anybody in this window. Honestly.
Oh, this window they won't bring anyone in. No way.
Yeah. And they're still suffering from the bad investment in Tonali. Because the whole situation, it turns out to be a bad investment at this moment in time, and it's hurt them financially.
Yeah, no, this is about making sales to see if they can then sort themselves out for the summer, get themselves in a good position, and hopefully in the summer they'll be able to go spend some money.
Well, on the football pitch, I just want to say, Terry, if we're going to talk about on the football pitch away from this situation, this season Newcastle have realized that they are not ready yet to be competing at the top level with like the top teams. It's taken years for us to all have like a squad that we can at least compete on more fronts. They realized that they couldn't do it. And some of these injuries caught up to them, and their captains were even fighting against their own players, and I mean their own fans about their situation. So they just weren't prepared to be competing on all fronts and playing in the Champions League. And as much as people like to make fun of the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Manchester Uniteds, when we're in all competitions, even though we're not as good every single year, we at least have the squad depth where we can somewhat rotate.
Yeah, I think obviously, yeah, they don't have, maybe they don't have the squad that we have, but they've still got a decent squad. They've just been absolutely roasted by injuries. Bro. Like, I don't think that they need to buy like loads of players. I think they've got a decent squad personally. I just think that they've just been absolutely decimated, man. They've just been absolutely decimated. So like, I just think it is what it is. Like you said, that Newcastle fan, I think most of them have just sort of wrote this season off now. Probably. I don't know if they're in what the cups are in. Are they still in the cup competitions?
FA Cup?
Are they in the FA Cup? Okay, so they've got a crack at the FA Cup. Other than that, yeah, season's a bit dead. They go again next year, man. Other than like, I'm just wondering, like, is Eddie Howe under any pressure? I don't think he'd get sacked this summer, but I think next season you got to set him like strict targets, man, because let's be honest, Champions League was a failure. This season has been a failure. Despite the injuries, like, you'd expect them to do a little bit better than they have, even with the injuries. For me, like, next season, he's got to do better than this.
Is he good enough, though?
Huh?
He's going to get
Eddie
sacked.
Howe good enough?
He's going to get sacked. They're going to move on from him.
I mean, if their goal was to win the league in, 5 years is what they said when they bought the club?
Mm-hmm.
Is Eddie Howe the guy that's going to win them the league? I don't think he is.
That's why I said I give him next year. But you got to set him strict targets. For me personally, depending on what they do in the transfer business in the summer, which I expect them to do some business, I'm saying you got to get top 4, mate. If you don't get top 4, then you've got to move on. And I think Newcastle fans are going to have to develop a little bit more of a sort of a ruthless streak. These Saudis guys, they're not here to play. They want to win. Like, you've got to set him a target, and if he fails, he's out and replace him with someone better.
I think Joe's
Patty.
destination.
Well, let's say, Patty, there's a lot of Newcastle fans saying they want Jose Mourinho. You boys had him recently. Do you think that's the right step in their development for Newcastle to go and get Jose Mourinho?
Nah, not really. I mean, it's a big name, and obviously he's going to bring a lot of fanfare to the club, and it will be a great short-term appointment in terms of the profile he brings to Newcastle, but he's not going to play the brand of football they want to play. He's a short-term solution in terms of the players he's going to want to bring in. And they need to do some good recruitment, get a good up-and-coming manager who's playing a brand of football that you can build on and develop with, because Jose Mourinho is a short-term solution which probably won't even bring them the trophies anyway. At least with a Jose and a Conte before, you said that even though they come in and they cause a whirlwind and a shitstorm in a teacup, excuse my French, they will win you something. They're not even doing that now. So, nah, I don't see it. Like Will said, and like LB said, Eddie Howe isn't long-term the guy you want, but he's done very well to lay the foundations. So
I didn't say necessarily isn't the guy though, bro.
Didn't you?
I said he's not the guy.
I said give him a chance next year. You got a chance next year.
You said that they need to define or lay down some strict targets, and realistically, those strict targets, Eddie Howe's not going to reach them, is he?
I think it's a bit. You got to give him the chance, bro. Like, give him the chance next year. Let's find out. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, I think he's earned the chance to have another goal next year. But if he doesn't do it next year, none of this phase stuff. Just get him out and get someone in.
I'm sorry, but if any one of our clubs, I don't necessarily think that that's true. Any one of our clubs, if we had gotten 4th last season and then we're sitting 10th or 11th or wherever Newcastle is right now, we would say out. Every one of our clubs, every fan 100%. Of any one of our clubs would be like, that guy's got to go.
Because their injuries have been ridiculous.
Even with injuries.
The thing about Newcastle is we don't know what they want. We don't know because we don't have enough of a sample size. With our clubs, we all know what our clubs want. Newcastle, they might actually be content with the situation because of the injuries.
But they came out.
They could give him the leeway to finish the season. But in the
same
owners
breath, came out and set that standard. And if the fans aren't holding them to that standard, what are they doing then?
No, Will, I think they're just
fans might just be happy to be in this situation. They've been in relegation battles for like the last.
No, they're not happy to be here, bro. Like, let's not say they're happy to be here. I think the Newcastle fans are just accepting that their squad has been decimated by injuries and they're willing to give them a little bit of leeway. Like maybe the second half of the season, if they do crap in the second half of the season, maybe then they'll be like, you know what, maybe this guy isn't the guy. But I think they're going to give him a little bit of a chance. The squad has been.
And people think with the money that Newcastle have is with Saudi money, they can't spend it all at once. You know, they can't because of the new FFP rules. It's not like where they could do a Man City and can buy whoever the hell they want. They've got to spend it wisely. They've got to spend it correctly. And look, you have to get.
I can set up a few shell
companies. I think you have to add. You have to. No, but
they can't lie about sponsors.
They can't lie.
There's too many spotlights on that. I mean,
they can't. You have to add context with their season. You just got to. Yeah, look. They got 4th last season. They're 10th now. But you got to add the context. Why are they in 10th? We didn't know Tonali was going to have what he has. We didn't know that they're going to have masses of injuries that they had this season. You just got to add the context to it.
They need. I think they need to go and sign someone like Santiago Munez. That's what they need. They need him to come in that January window, get them their Champions League football. It's a great film. That it weren't really. It was actually an awful film when you watch it back now. It hasn't aged particularly well, especially with the technique. You see the actors
on the Mexican kid who plays in the Turkish league or something.
Yeah, Santiago Jimenez. That's literally his name.
Oh, yeah. There's also in a film called, he was in I'm talking about the guy from the film Goal.
The funny thing is the guy, there's a striker available called Santiago Jimenez from Mexico who's available right now.
There used to be a TV show in England called Dream Team on Sky One. It was very clever for its day. They used to took real football matches and superimposed different color kits on them and stuff. And they were called the Dream Team. And a newspaper once run with a story So some like online newspaper wrote a story that Liverpool were about to buy some striker, and he was from that show. And 3 mainstream media outlets run with that story, and they didn't clock on it. So these things happen. Jimmy here with super chat says, "Why are Newcastle pitied for having 10 injuries? Yet Chelsea have had the most on average in 12 all season with Nkunku, Chilwell, James, Fofana, Lavia." Him out gets, and they get 0 mentions. Chukwuemeka, yeah.
One answer. 1 billion. That's what it is. 1 million. I mean, 1 million. Come on, let's get out of here. 1 billion.
1 billion.
Bro.
Billion. They spent
1 billion. Yeah, I'm even shocked that it's a billion. They spent $1 billion on all these players. It doesn't matter. You have 10 injuries.
Are you sure it's $1 billion or is it not $1 million?
I just had Austin Powers flashbacks.
$1
million.
$1 million.
$1 billion. How you it still doesn't make any sense. How any football club in the world spends £1 billion, they're not going to be as bad as Chelsea. Let's be honest.